Hello and welcome to Whispered Legends. I am your storyteller, and I'm thrilled to have you here. Get ready to journey into tales of mystery, adventure, and the unknown. If you love stories that spark your imagination, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a whisper. Now, let's begin today's tale. The Bell Witch haunting stands as one of the most intriguing and terrifying supernatural events in American history. The story centers around the Bell family, specifically John Bell, his wife Lucy, and their children, as they are terrorized by a malevolent spirit in the early 19th century. This haunting, which took place in Adams, Tennessee, is famous for its unexplained phenomena, violent occurrences, and the death of one family member. The Bell Witch has left a lasting impact on folklore, inspiring books, films, and extensive theories about the supernatural. This documentary will explore the full breadth of the haunting, from the first signs of the spirit's presence to the aftermath and legacy that continues to capture public imagination. The story of the Bell Witch begins in 1804 when John Bell, a prosperous farmer, his wife Lucy, and their children moved from North Carolina to Red River, Tennessee, now Adams. The Bell family quickly became well known and respected within the local community for their devout Christian faith and solid agricultural success. They settled on a large plot of land in a quiet, rural area and began to build their new life. Despite the outward appearance of success, tensions in the community, particularly with a local woman named Kate Batts, would soon set the stage for a chain of events that would disrupt their lives forever. John Bell, a man of practical skills and great integrity, was said to have had a particularly strained relationship with Kate Batts. Some accounts suggest that Kate had become bitter after a disagreement with John regarding a land transaction, which escalated into a feud. Local legend holds that Kate, feeling wronged, cursed the Bell family, swearing revenge on John Bell and his descendants. Whether or not this curse was real or merely a reflection of local gossip is still up for debate, but it is said to be the catalyst for the strange events that followed. The haunting began in 1817, when John Bell began experiencing unexplained phenomena on his property. It started subtly enough, odd sounds in the woods near their house, like the rustling of leaves or a low, growling noise that seemed to be following him. At first, John believed the sounds were merely wild animals, but the noises soon escalated. Over the following weeks, members of the Bell family began hearing knocking sounds that seemed to come from inside their house. Sometimes, it was knocking on the walls, other times, it was a persistent rapping on doors and windows. The sounds were so loud and relentless that they could not be ignored, and the Bell family realized something was amiss. At night, the sounds intensified, and the family began to hear what seemed like voices, soft whispers, unintelligible murmurings, and sometimes even full sentences. The voices, however, did not seem to come from anyone in the household. Over time, the Bell family came to realize that they were dealing with something far more mysterious than simple environmental noises. The supernatural disturbances grew more distinct and violent as time passed. By 1818, the Bell family began to experience more direct manifestations of the entity's presence. Most notably, the spirit began communicating with the family in a more defined manner. The voice, initially a whisper, began speaking openly to the Bells. The spirit introduced itself as Kate, later believed to be the spirit of Kate Batts, the neighbor with whom John had a long-standing feud. Kate's voice was said to be eerie and often mocking, speaking with malicious intent. She would taunt the Bell family, often mimicking their voices and laughing cruelly at their expense. Kate seemed particularly focused on John Bell, often speaking of him in a hostile manner, and it was clear from her tone that she intended to bring harm. The disturbances escalated from disembodied voices to physical manifestations. Household items would be thrown across the room with no apparent cause, furniture was overturned, and food would be mysteriously destroyed. The Bell family began to be physically attacked by the entity as well. John Bell experienced being slapped and having his hair pulled, and sometimes, the attacks were so violent that he would suffer bruises or marks from the invisible blows. But it wasn't just John Bell who was tormented. The entity's cruelty was particularly focused on the Bell family's youngest daughter, Betsy. Betsy, who was only a young girl at the time, was the most frequent target of the spirit's assaults. She was subjected to intense physical attacks. Invisible hands would pull her hair, slap her, and strangle her, sometimes leaving visible marks on her skin. On numerous occasions, Betsy was found crying out in pain, claiming that the spirit was attacking her. These incidents caused widespread panic. Neighbors came to the Bell home to witness the phenomena for themselves, and it wasn't long before the haunting became a spectacle that people from all over the area traveled to see. As the haunting continued, the Bell family's suffering grew more intense. In 1819, the entity's attacks became even more disturbing. The voice of Kate Batts became more belligerent, making direct threats against the Bell family. It seemed to delight in causing chaos, deliberately creating fear and confusion. In particular, Betsy's suffering reached new extremes. One of the most harrowing accounts was when Betsy was allegedly thrown across the room, pinned to the ground by an invisible force. According to reports, she could barely move or speak, as the entity held her in place with seemingly supernatural strength. It was clear that whatever was haunting the Bell family had no intention of letting up. John Bell's health also began to deteriorate dramatically. The once robust man appeared to age rapidly, losing his strength and vitality. Some accounts suggest that his condition worsened after he had an altercation with the spirit, which may have been involved in causing his illness. It was believed by some that the spirit, in its malevolent rage, poisoned him. While there is no definitive evidence to confirm the poisoning, John Bell's rapid decline seemed to suggest that something supernatural was at work. The Bell Witch became a subject of intense public interest. The events were so strange and terrifying that people traveled from all over the country to witness the hauntings for themselves. Among those who visited the Bell family's home was Andrew Jackson, who would later become the President of the United States. At the time, Jackson was a prominent military leader, and he heard rumors of the haunting. Intrigued, Jackson traveled to the Bell farm with a group of men to investigate. The group reportedly experienced strange occurrences during their visit, such as their horses suddenly refusing to move and strange noises emanating from the house. Jackson is said to have been so frightened by the events that he immediately ordered his group to leave, noting that they were all unnerved by the entity's power. Jackson reportedly commented that the entity, which he described as a witch, was too powerful to be understood. Despite the attention from prominent individuals, no one was able to find an explanation for the disturbances. Doctors and spiritualists, among others, attempted to offer explanations, but none could stop the haunting. The Bell family, desperate for help, resorted to various forms of exorcism and prayer, but nothing seemed to alleviate the torment they endured. The culmination of the Bell Witch haunting occurred in December 1820, when John Bell died under mysterious circumstances. His health had worsened to the point where he was bedridden, and it was believed that the spirit, Kate, had caused his death. Some reports suggest that John Bell's death was the result of poisoning, which was allegedly carried out by the spirit. Locals believed that Kate Batts, in the form of the entity, had somehow poisoned him over the course of several weeks. Before his death, John Bell is said to have spoken to his family, stating that the spirit had tormented him to the point of his demise. His last words were reportedly, "I am the victim of a spirit that will not leave us in peace." Following his death, the disturbances at the Bell home seemed to cease. The Bell family, devastated by John's death, left the farm shortly afterward. While the haunting ended for them, the legend of the Bell Witch continued to live on, passed down through generations. After the Bell family left the property, the haunting seemingly stopped, but the legend of the Bell Witch remained a significant part of Tennessee folklore. Over the years, the story of the Bell Witch became the subject of countless books, articles, and ghost stories. Local residents continued to claim that strange occurrences took place in the area around the Bell farm, but none were as intense as the original haunting. In modern times, the Bell Witch is considered one of the most well-known and well-documented hauntings in American history. It has inspired various movies, books, and documentaries, including The Bell Witch Haunting, An American Haunting, and numerous television programs. Some researchers have suggested that the haunting was a product of mass hysteria or that the Bell family may have exaggerated the events for personal gain. Others have argued that the Bell Witch was indeed a real supernatural entity, forever cementing its place in the annals of American folklore. The Bell Witch Haunting remains one of the most perplexing and horrifying paranormal cases ever recorded. Whether viewed as a work of fiction, a psychological phenomenon, or as an authentic encounter with a vengeful spirit, the story has captured the imaginations of people for over 2 centuries. The haunting's legacy continues to influence discussions of the supernatural and serves as a chilling reminder of the eerie unknown forces that may exist just beyond our comprehension.